Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hi, Rich. How are you?
What in the world's a catch in the NFL? Come on now. What's happening?
What is a catch? How do you even spell catch anymore? I mean, I can't figure out anything.
You and I
need to go into the jumble in the newspaper to figure out what is not.
So let's get into this right now. Mike Pereira, former head of NFL refs, Fox rules analyst, Fox Sports rules analyst here on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you like the catch rule the way it's written?
No, but I don't think I know how to write it any other way.
I do.
I think that it's a lot worse than it started out to be because of a couple decisions that were made in replay early, basically out of New York, which confused the issue. I think if you take away the Golden Tate reversal of a ruling of an interception and a touchback, and then they reversed it and made it a touchdown, if you take away that decision, which never should have been reversed, then I think it maybe would be a little bit more clear to people. But it's so gray in this whole element of time. Mm-hmm. I mean, this element of time to become a runner is what's throwing everybody off.
Well, before we get to that, why should there be even any element of time to become a runner when you're in the end zone at all, based off of the Odell Beckham situation?
Well, forget the end zone, because that doesn't come into play.
It should.
No, it doesn't. The requirements to make the catch, to make a catch, are the same. Period. So forget the end zone, forget the field of play. Let's take the Odell Beckham play and put it at the 50-yard line. You know, he goes up in the air, he's airborne, he gets control of the ball, he comes down with 1 foot, and then when the second foot swings around, right after the second foot hits the ground, the ball is knocked out. There's zero element of time that he had the ball after getting the second foot down. So by rule, without having that element of time, it's incomplete. Now, the interpretation of completing the catch is the same in the field of play and in the end zone. The only difference is this, that in the field of play, if you have a catch and a fumble, so you've determined that there is that element of time, that catch fumble in the end zone becomes catch touchdown, because as soon as you've got that element of time, the play is over if you're in the end zone. But otherwise, there's no difference in the field of play, which I know flummoxes a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But that's the case.
Because I know they're trying to be consistent with what's a catch in the end zone with what's a catch in the field of play, but it is inconsistent with what constitutes a score if you're running the ball in the end zone than if you're catching the ball in the end zone.
Got that too, but let's remember now, the rules are different from a receiver to a runner. You have, in order to get the ruling of breaking the plane being a touchdown, you have to be a runner. And you don't become a runner until you have completed the catch, which means you have to go through this control 2 feet element of time. Then you become a runner.
But Mike,
you've got in the Beckham case.
Here's the issue before we get to the concept of time. Here's the issue. Why then do you stop the play the immediate moment you've creased the plane as a runner? But when you are creasing the line of gain, say on the 40-yard line, and reaching the ball over, you allow somebody on the defense to slap the ball away. But you don't allow that in the end zone. What's the difference? That's another inconsistency.
I guess, except it's almost like going out of bounds. Once the ball breaks the plane, and I get you. It's a good point that you're making. But once the ball breaks the plane of the end zone, it's over.
I know. So why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it?
And I know it's treated differently in the field of play, but that's the nature of the beast. That you break the plane once you score, the play's over. Nothing else can happen. And once the ball breaks the plane, by the definition of a touchdown, once the tip of the ball breaks the plane, then it's a touchdown. Dead ball, plays over. So you can't really put the two together.
Well, I'm trying to put the two together because Odell Beckham did have 2 hands on a ball with possession with 2 feet down in the end zone, and that should constitute a score, in my estimation, based on the fact that if you crease the plane with a football, that's a score and the play is over as well. The play should be finished in the same way that Golden Tate's play was finished, which you said was reversed incorrectly. So let's put it this way. How about this? If the ball is possessed in the end zone with 2 hands and 2 feet down, that's a touchdown. If the ball is possessed in the field of play with 2 hands and 2 feet down, that is a catch. And if you lose the ball in the end zone, it's a touchdown. If you lose the ball in the field of play, it is a turnover. Period. end of story, let's go play football. Is that possible?
Sure. Absolutely positive. The only way to take the gray area out of it, I mean, and the only pushback from that is going to be from the committee, which has been a pushback for a long, long time. Is, do you want more turnovers in the game? Do you want more fumbles in the game on a team that in a league that is very slanted toward the offense? Are you going to go away from the concept of when in doubt, make the pass incomplete so you don't have cheap fumbles? When in doubt, say that the arm is going forward so that it's an incomplete pass and not a cheap fumble. You could eliminate this to a great degree, by going to that black and white standard, but accepting the fact that you are going to have more fumbles in the field of play. And I'm fine with that if they go in that direction. I think nobody's really happy with where we are right now, nobody, including me. And I'll tell you, it's not just in the NFL, by the way. It's in college, too. The interpretations in the college are now the same. They showed me a play from a game that's so clearly a catch, but they're telling me in replay it's an incomplete pass. Nobody's getting it on any level. So maybe you're right to draw the bright line and go there and accept the notion of, that you're just going to have more turnovers. But if you're not, here's the one thing that I really hate is get replay out of the whole thing then. If you're going to leave this element of time, let the officials make the decision on the field and get replay out of making judgmental decisions as to whether a receiver had a ball long enough to become a runner. It's so gray that replay just complicates the issue in my mind, including in the Golden Tate thing, which really I think got a lot of people to the area that they're at now where they're so confused.
Mike Pereira joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Before we get to college, I just want to hit on one last thing that I hit with Joe Buck yesterday. He said that some officials on the crew that was in Green Bay, they were chatting in the hotel over the weekend, and he thought some officials thought that the league at some point might just throw the entire rule book out and start from scratch and rewrite it. Do you think that's possible?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what official would say that. I mean, they might rewrite it to try to make it a little bit more sensible for people to read. Because it's almost they've been in that process for a number of years, but it's so complicated and it's so difficult. In the penalty enforcements, they might take a look at that and try to make it a little simpler. But you can't throw the rule book out. That's an impossibility. And any official that actually says that to Joe Buck is out of his mind and ought to be working Pop Warner football instead of the NFL.
Wow. Mike Pereira joining me here, former VP of NFL refs. What was Dean Blandino's call with John Harbaugh like to say, sorry, we missed that false start penalty that would have given you the win as opposed to an opportunity for Jacksonville to get the win they got?
I don't know, tough call, I guess. I mean, nobody on the field said anything about it. Baltimore didn't say anything about it on the field. Nobody recognized it. If it was a quarterback spike, where he was just going to spike the ball to stop the clock, it would have been legal because you're as an offense, the philosophy is that you just have to stop, not set for a full second. But it was fourth down, so they couldn't do that. So they snapped the ball. So legally, you have to get set for a full second. So, the call is like, and if it would have been me, we should have shut down that play. There should have been a 10-second runoff, and then that's what I would have said if I was Dean Blandino. Now, being Mike Pereira, I would have said, now when I'm not the VP of officiating, I would have said, they should have shut the play down, no question about that. They didn't set for a full second, although it's a rare situation in a hurry up to have it be a legit snap. But on the other hand, you should have intercepted the pass. I mean, clearly you should have intercepted the pass. And why the hell did you grab the face mask in the first place to give them the opportunity to win the game?
But last one.
And then we would have ended the conversation and would have been probably enemies for the rest of the season. But it's facts. I mean, it's not only officials that make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Last one for you, Mike. You know that I respect you and officials and refereeing. You know that. You and I go way back.
No, I know. And I miss being on your show, by the way.
And I miss having you, okay? So now, all that said, the officiating at the collegiate level has been an abomination this year. It really has. I mean, some of the calls that we're seeing, the Miami-Duke play is just the most famous one. The Big Ten refereeing that I have seen this year, just watching some Michigan games with a targeting call on a player in between the guards, not the tackles, in between the guards. I saw a pass interference call in Michigan State and Nebraska called on both players on the same play, which to me sounds like a no call. And then obviously the call that they made at the end of the game that still has Michigan State fans upset. Is that just me, or from what you're seeing, the officiating at the collegiate level is a problem, if not crisis?
You know, I watch as much college football as I watch NFL officials because NFL football, because, you know, Fox is involved with both the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and Conference USA and airing their games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in looking at it, I don't think it's necessarily any better or any worse, but what has happened is they have made some high-profile mistakes at the end of games, which, you know, have cost teams games, and then it gets all the notoriety. And I think the Duke-Miami play was the one that, to me, almost made me throw every monitor that was in Fox Studios against the wall because it was handled so poorly. And replay got involved when it shouldn't have got involved, even though they deny it. I mean, it's one thing to miss that the knee was on the ground, and then it's another thing to get involved in the block in the back that was called that they gave input to say it was a legal block. But they surely didn't go back to the 15-yard line and see the one that was so critical there. The fact is they can't give input on illegal blocks in the back, but they did. It was an abomination. I think the replay official should be suspended for life, not for 2 games. The officials on the field on that particular play, I got to tell you, Rich, when everybody's throwing backwards pass, you're thinking, is it backward, is it forward, and you're likely to miss a block and maybe even the knee down. But replay should have bailed them out. But the Michigan State-Nebraska game, the Big Ten has defended the call as being right. I totally disagree, but that's their opinion if they want to do that. But there's been high-profile mistakes that have trickled down, and anytime you get such negative stuff out there about the NFL, it trickles down to the college ranks, and I think it's not as bad as everybody thinks if they can just get away from making the high-profile national mistake that brings bad light on everything.
Mike, great chatting with you. We'll chat soon, hopefully, okay?
You got it.
Thanks, bud. That's Mike Pereira at Mike Pereira from Fox Sports.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.